Hello guys and welcome to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis learning playthrough. In the past 2 episodes we've gotten started. Invasion of Poland is done. I noticed while editing the last episode that these menus were not showing. For whatever reason the game thinks that they're a different window separate to the game. I don't think I ran into that in my Allied playthrough, but it's fixed now, as you can see, and it'll be fixed for the rest of this. So we've already, as I said, finished up our invasion of Poland. Hopefully it will fall next turn when we hit end turn. Italy, there's not actually much to do because, again, we're just saving up points for now for something that I believe will end up being important. This Japanese turn isn't going to be as exciting as the last Japanese turn because we're going to start getting things moving. So one thing I missed was that this unit, by the way, does not actually need to be here. Now, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't slow me down or speed me up one way or another because I want to get the units upgraded before I ship them out. I want them to get to the front line and be upgraded like everything else over here. So that is something of import. Another thing is this army right here I would like to be upgraded. It doesn't need to be here, it could move forward, but I was thinking, I remember when I saw it, I thought I wanted to get it upgraded. So first thing we'll do is work on this. We're gonna get this upgraded with infantry weapons so that we can then get it up to the front, because we do need more stuff up on the front here, but again, I want it to be all upgraded. We can do some attacks, for example on the 41st Army, which has gone from like 1 to 9 with just reinforcements. That's pretty crazy. They must have spent a lot of their points on this last turn. They are getting a lot of free points due to the Hanoi-Kunming Railroad, but that will kind of go away with time. Here's another thing I have to do is get the Korean Army here upgraded. He's also in a weird position. Like I can swap him out and then send him north like this. The HQ might just be stuck, however. No, okay, cool. Because I didn't have enough points to actually run through here. So getting him moving would be good. I want to get that upgraded. That's important. Another important thing is, even when I upgrade these units, they can't head anywhere, a lot of them, because we need garrisons to fill in a lot of this stuff. I can get the armies out and leave corps in their places. That works. That's functional. However, still, getting garrisons would be good. So we're going to end up building some of those this turn. One important thing will be getting the armies out of here, at least, and especially, as we know we have an extra corps up here, so that works as a garrison in the meantime until we get some other things. Not just for the purpose of holding on to garrison points like the partisan areas, but also keeping one unit within these hex ranges for mechanical purposes. Now, we can exploit some things here. For example, right here, these two can be maintained by one singular garrison. It's pretty handy. This HQ definitely doesn't need to be here, and we do now have points to operate it. However, it just becomes a question of where should we operate it to? 2 HQs, I imagine, is not enough for this front. No. Especially not once we get more units in here. So we're going to want to definitely move things around. Suchou, this place right here, could definitely use the HQ being there to make supply spread a little bit better in this region, I'd say, if it actually works like that. This garrison can thus move. I think I know how I'll do this right now. This garrison is going to operate 5 MPPs over next to Harbin so that this corps and this HQ can move. The HQ is going to operate down to, I'm less sure about this part, but let's go with either one of these two right here. I'm not sure which one still. They could come here to try to attack the HQ potentially, and that wouldn't be good, but this would keep it more in range of other things. I'll put it down here because we have enough, I think, HQs in general down here. So we'll put it down there. There you go. This HQ will move up to Peking because it can, and this garrison's going to stay here because it's going to be needed eventually. This corps can just start running for now. It can just run down here. I don't want to spend money on operating it. This army will upgrade with infantry weapons 1, very important. We now, if we could have gotten infantry weapons 2 or something else researching. I don't want to do that just yet. I want to get things in fighting shape first. So we're also upgrading the army here at Hisking, I don't know how to say it. And we'll upgrade the army here at Manchuria as well with infantry weapons 1. Those are the most important things. We have 110 MPPs remaining. It only takes like 1 turn to pump a garrison out. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to make some garrisons. We can get 2 of them, and I believe that's where I will end up spending most of my points. There are some things here I could repair, but I'm not going to do that just yet. Garrisons are more important to getting things out of the rear into the front. I think that takes my priority right now, because ideally, of course, we want to work on killing China, and primarily China, as soon as possible, because they're the only real long-term threat in this playthrough that I see to Japan, and this will be better for dealing with that, I believe. So we'll take this name, the Jinzo Fire Fiba Waipa, that one right there. We're going to purchase this garrison. We're going to get the 10th garrison as well, because it's right there. And so, cool. We have 10 MPPs left. We spent everything that we can spend. We have our garrisons, we're good. If I recall correctly, there will actually be an event that pops up that will prompt me to turn one army into like 4 garrisons instead. I'm just gonna pick the army on that one, because an army is 250 MPPs and 4 garrisons is 200 MPPs, and I don't want to scam myself. So I'd rather just pump out the garrisons on my own time and then focus on shifting things around logistically to stomp out China, because that's kind of my goal. We're going to stomp out China. We don't really need to prepare long-term research in Navy and blah blah as direly for dealing with America or anything like that. Either way, I believe we start out ahead on research, so hopefully that helps. If we do beat up China, we could maybe plunder some amazing MPPs. And so, okay, there's still a little bit left to do. I'm like looking around trying to find stuff. On the front line, I said I was going to attack a little bit, and attack a little bit I shall. We'll take the medium bombers first, and we're going to bombard the 41st Army that has brought itself back to life. We got interceptors from them, from us. They took 1 damage. We took no damage. We dealt 2 damage. Okay, wow, that's awesome, dude. And now we're going to do a tactical bomber run. 1 damage. No damage taken. That was an amazing turn for the air. These guys have like no readiness, no morale. They're back down to 6. We are just going to try to bleed on these guys without taking damage. Hopefully, it seems to be working out so far. Because I could also do a strafing run, but that may not be the smartest. So we're going to go ahead and, oh yeah, we're going to bump this HQ down here. That would be good. We'll attack with the 17th Army. Again, rack up some XP. Dealt 1 damage, took none. We were supposed to deal 2, so that's not as great as that could be. We will shift this army, though, and attack again. Dealt none, took none. That is very sad. Alright, well, we got an amazing turn for the air. Our land forces did not perform as well, unfortunately. We are getting some XP from attacking, though. Of course, the enemy is as well, although whenever they reinforce, which they're having to do more, they actually lose some of that XP, which is great for us. Down here, we don't really have a good way to attack anybody, unfortunately. You know where an HQ... Oh, I know, there's one right. I was saying, you know where an HQ could be handy? Like, down here or something, but... No, this placement's good enough. But yeah, we don't have enough. We don't have enough stuff here to really go on an offensive. I could move the Central Expedition Army forward and hope supply trickles in well enough. It should at least trickle into 5. Just to kind of scare these cores. They can't really hurt the Central Expedition Army, I think. I hope. I guess we're going to find out. I'm not going to attack them. The goal is to just kind of have them get worried. And have them maybe, I don't know, want to deal with me. Although, here's a new problem. This is now an open partisan location. That will be filled in soon. This is why you need so many garrisons. You need to be able to hold this stuff in. I'm not as worried when we're up on the front, but yeah, that could proc. It's a chance-based turn thing every turn. I'm not going to go back though. I don't care about it. The supply is pretty much coming from this HQ here, I believe. You know, actually, I could move the HQ down here, and then that would fulfill the goal that I wanted from it, and then kind of mesh better with the fact that I'm kind of shifting some HQs downwards. Oh yeah, okay, that works really well. Alright, let's move the HQ down south here to Nanchang, and it will kind of be a garrison for us then. I will take this 13th Corps and just start running it south. It can't operate from where it is, so we're going to move it south somewhere it could maybe get some upgrades or just find a way to garrison. We have this Corps over here at Seoul. It's probably pretty important to keep someone at Seoul. Maybe not against AI. It's not upgraded anyway, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Running has not a lot of purpose. Operating really isn't that bad. Other things we could upgrade, but I believe since we're out of MPPs, that's all I'm really going to do for this turn. So yeah, that's everyone taken care of. And since we have taken care of everybody, let's go ahead and hit end turn. See what happens. Polish morale collapses from the loss of Warsaw. Our offensive against Poland has been a great success and Polish army has been decisively defeated. Molotov, the Soviet foreign minister, is now urging us to pull back to our previously agreed partition lines to honor our non-aggression pact with the USSR. If we say yes to honoring the pact, then we will gain imports from the USSR worth 25 MPPs a turn. Wow. If we say no, we will lose these imports, and the USSR will swing 20 to 30% towards the Allies as we push the Red Army out of Poland. Should we honor the pact and cede Eastern Poland to the USSR? 25 MPPs a turn for agreeing to the pact? I understand why the pact can be bad, right? I had no idea this was a thing. I thought it was just like, I don't know. I didn't know. Oh, wow. By saying no, we will have to invade sooner than we thought we might have wished. Due to the anger we will trigger in the USSR by not honoring the pact. Say no, we'll have the better launching point, future invasion. They're my boss anyway, so I'm really just gearing up to invade them. And I have other ways, I have other directions to invade them from and spread them thin with the strategy that I have right now. We're definitely saying yes to this. 25 MPPs a turn, that's pretty fucking nice. That's pretty nice. I'll take that. That will really help me in the start here. We plundered 255 MPPs for Germany, separate to what they're going to gain as income. They're going to need that. Germany occupies Western Poland, and it's because the East is about to go to the Soviets. USSR occupies Eastern Poland. Yep. Now the borders have shifted. I'm happy with that, and they're going to get a bunch of free units when we invade. I remember that. BEF arrives in France. Oh, right. Yeah. Germany advised to garrison Soviet frontier. Okay. Ensure we have 2 units within 6 hexes of Warsaw. I've taken a screenshot of that. We'll make sure we do that. All right. Good MPPs. Oh yeah, those imports will be nice. Constant until they end up in the war. Nice. And by that point, you know, we're probably on the final rush anyway. Once we have France, I think we're pretty much locked in. After playing the Allies, I feel like I'm good enough at the game that even if I make a bunch of mistakes, which I'm sure I have already, I won't need to worry, and that I can probably pull off the rest of my goals anyway. I think. Maybe. We'll find out. This is a very long-term game. We see the French here are reinforcing their border along the Maginot. The BEF lands somewhere around here, if I remember correctly. We'll be running into them after we go through the Low Countries. Oh my god! What? You crazy bastards! Did you see that? Oh, we have to talk about that move in a moment. Holy fuck. Germany celebrates victory over Poland and the return of Danzig. French morale suffers from the fall of Poland. Yeah. Royal Navy occupies the ports of Cork and Waterford and Ireland. See, I didn't do that. And I still don't think it's smart to do that, but maybe it is. We've disrupted New Zealand, UK convoys, and South Africa, UK convoys. Okay, nice. Nice. Gotta disrupt as many convoys as possible. This European front needs as much help as it could get. Alright, and that's the turn of the enemies. Oh. At the end of 1940, you'll be presented with a proposal to deploy a force in Italy to serve in the Mediterranean. This force, which will be better known as the Africa Corps, will consist of ground forces and air units capable of fighting the British in this theater. Forming it will cost 500 MPPs. Oh my god. You would rather not invest in this. As the war progresses, you may wish to consider deploying the units in the Mediterranean so that Italy doesn't have to fight alone. Okay, so basically... I see. Okay. What does that mean, though? If I don't form it, will those units just simply not exist anyway? Because I think I remember the AI not forming it. I don't think I ever found Rommel. It might be that. You might be paying for the units and for their transport. I think I'm going to do that due to my plan in this playthrough revolving somewhat around Egypt. Egypt is one of the 3 major goals. So the Africa Corps will be worth it, I believe. Having an HQ down there in general will be worth it. I would love to shift to this one, and we probably will eventually. Italy is going to focus like so entirely on here that maybe it's smarter to just let Italy do it, but since This is a good test, right? Since the goal of the playthrough involves taking Egypt and Russia, and we don't need to worry too much about any antics of players. If I was fighting a player, man, I might not even do this. Who knows? We will want as much stuff as possible to overwhelm this and kind of test its defenses so that when we do play the Axis as a player, which I believe might end up being the first PvP, then we know what we need to do to accomplish our goals. Alright, so now that we've come over to a new turn, I believe I want to start figuring out the unit placement for the invasion over here. We know we need to keep 2 units near Warsaw. That's no problem. Warsaw, Modlin, Bam, Shalam. There you go. It's all we really need. Getting armies moving over and the tanks is probably the most important things. I believe I want the tanks both to be right here, ready to kind of charge through and lead the offensive. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So we'll get the 4th Panzer tanks operating. And yes, we're going to operate because we want to move quickly. It's going to cost money, but we'll have to move this corps for this plan, however. And we will. We will. I may want to move this army somewhere that it could kind of fill in some of the plans. I'm not too sure about that yet. But the corps is definitely moving. The first priority here is getting things into place, and then upgrading them comes after. We'll also need to get more research, but we'll figure that out. Getting prepared for this invasion is a pretty important one. Tell you what, we'll just swap these two and we'll call that what we need to do pretty much for this setup. So this will be a garrison force. This army will be here ready to push forward into Luxembourg, maybe around towards Brussels. Where's the other tank? The other tank will still go nearby though. 21 MPPs, probably put it at Cologne here. We want, again, 2 things around Warsaw. That's no problem. We'll put another one of these corps right here. There you go, that's figured out. This corps needs to get onto the rail, so we'll go ahead and just send that down by Dresden, as we will eventually just, you know, get it into place. We don't need any units in the east. We don't have to worry about any weird things. Not like the USSR is going to get mobilized that quickly. For right now, we have 3 HQs to allocate, and I kind of have an idea how I want to do that. This fighter is going to need to move. It's because I want an HQ here. This is an amazing place for an HQ. Let's put it right here. That should be fine enough. This fighter should probably move up a little bit as well. Kind of hug this southern area. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where yet. We will operate okay, I have to look at the ratings. HQ ratings are a thing. So these are not the best HQs, but we're not going to spend money on sacking and replacing. They're all fitting numbers, let's say that much. So we have Bach, Kukler, and Rundstedt. Hope I said those names correctly. Kukler, you are going to go down to Munich. Munich is a good spot for you. You're not our best guy, doesn't matter. We'll take our best guy, who is Rundstedt, and we'll operate him over to Frankfurt so he can hopefully help control the units that are actually pushing in on the invasion. We will operate Bach here, and we're going to send him more north a little bit so that he can provide support to the units pushing into the Low Countries as well, but mostly the northern front. We'll put him at Essen, so he can move along with the invasion maybe a little bit easier. Ideally, we want all armies lining this front. I think that's ideal. This one needs to get onto the rail line. We'll move him down to Poznan. That's fine. This one's on the rail line and fully reinforced. 3rd Army to Dusseldorf, please. We have the 14th Army who is on the rail line. Operate north of Dusseldorf. We have the 8th Army just south of Warsaw. Operate towards Bremen. I imagine this is going to fall really quickly. This side probably doesn't need an army. I don't know if there's any more armies we can even move right now. The 10th Army. Okay, the 10th Army can move. This is going to be a very narrow front, isn't it? Yeah, it kind of is. It looks like it is. I'll put that on the front. We'll just have a nice front line of armies for the time being. That leaves me with 261 MPPs. I suppose with these corps, we will start to kind of like line up the rear a little bit so we have these supporting units to fill in the front. The initial front will be a little wide. It will narrow, and then it will widen out like crazy. So having some fast moving corps in there would be nice. This corps is not on a rail, so we got to move that somewhere it can be on a rail. The corps at Torun can move over here to the Rhine. This corps right here can move just next to that. I think the further south, the better. That'll allow more mobility at the front. Especially if we could get mobility upgrades, but I doubt we're actually going to get that. The Slovakian one, sending the Slovakians in is... Almost feels weird, doesn't it? At least to me it does. We'll send them over here to the Ruhr. Operate the corps at Lublin near Bremen. We almost have a full front line here of like 2 rows. Is this excessive? Probably. But I don't see that they're really going to be needed anywhere else. And even if this was against players, I feel like this might be a decent way to do it, at least against the players that I think I will end up fighting against. So, again, quite content. Nobody else we can move right now. 210 MPPs remaining. Okay, 210 MPPs. We know we can upgrade the first army, so we will. Although, we're probably going to not have mobility upgrades because that's just crazy. That's way too expensive. For now, just AA defense and infantry weapons is good enough. Really, just infantry weapons would be good enough, but I will take what I can get. Anything that's going to be pushing, I think, deserves to get those 2 upgrades, because I know there's a lot of air power that we could end up worrying about here as we go. These tactical bombers need to kind of get closer to the west, probably as close towards Frankfurt as possible. I'm just going to like run them in that direction though. I'm not going to actually operate them because operating planes is just so fucking expensive, and this distance is not that far, especially considering how fast we can move. So these guys just southwest, medium bombers. I guess I'll send these towards Hamburg for now. These are actually better against things on the ocean than in land bombing. I will go ahead and I will upgrade these fighters here to Advanced Fighters 1. We're gonna need upgrades and reinforcements as time goes on. That brings me all the way down to 147 MPPs. That was kind of expensive, but that's that. I will spend Germany's remaining MPPs on the final 2 chits they have. Just dump all those into Yugoslavia. Ideally, this is all we'll need to spend on Yugoslavia, but we'll see. We now have a 40% chance of success per turn, and that's only going to go down 5% every time it succeeds. I believe that will be enough. So hopefully it will be enough, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. We can just focus on upgrading units, and then getting research, and then making more units with this plan. This is a weird plan, I know, but it hopefully work. So, okay. Let's send out a little bit. This right here, and bring it down here. Just trying to avoid going directly along the line just in case. I feel like that's smart. You go down here, there you go. You. I don't know what to do with you. But I'll send this sub over here to raid the Canadian line. That's a pretty valuable one if I remember correctly. I'm going to end up like accidentally raiding the Canadian lines in like 3 different places. They won't see the raid until they take their turn, right? Yeah, that's true. That's true, I think. So we'll just send all 3 of these subs down over here for right now, because then they're just going to sprint south and kind of like take care of that. They shouldn't have any ships over here. Maybe the French will have a couple, but not a lot. For right now, I'll take this sub and I'm just going to go park it right next to this transition point here so that it specifically raids this stuff and not the South African line, because now we have 2 ships on the South African line. I'm not leaving a surface ship over here where it could be intercepted by the French Navy or some kind of air forces or anything like that. So we have our German raiders set up. That's pretty good. Italy has 226 MPPs. I will spend 175 getting infantry weapons. I believe that will be very, very useful for Italy throughout this campaign that we are doing. That brings us down to 51 MPPs, and we have a lot of things to reinforce. It is my opinion that one of the most important things that Italy currently has is its 1 HQ. It's not a very good HQ. And oh my god, there's not even any backup leaders. Great. Okay, so Italy's leadership is just terrible. How many HQs can they have? 1. They can have 1 HQ and all their leaders are crap. Oh, I might not see the sack options because I can't afford them, but yeah, still, all their leaders are crap. Wow. And they can't even have any more HQs. Shit. Okay, yeah, so important it is. So we're gonna reinforce that with 36 MPPs. That brings us down to 15 for Italy. And so that's basically everything that we're gonna be doing on Italy. So now all that really leaves is Japan. Okay, so as Japan, this batshit crazy Chinese corps came from somewhere around here and then went through my territory past this front line to try to hit my planes. It failed. It didn't actually hurt them. Probably dealt some morale damage, but didn't actually hurt them. Still crazy that it tried. I'm gonna take the 34th Army off the front line here, is something I'm gonna do. Because it can get some elite reinforcements, and I want it to do that. It's going to deliver the first attack to these enemies. 4 damage it predicts with none taken. We dealt 5 damage, took nothing. That'll be, oh, that's really, really nice. Okay, cool. I am not leaving this open. I believe I can just operate someone in there anyway. And operate we can. We will operate the 2nd Kwantung Army from Yankee on the Soviet border and just drop it right in there. It won't be entrenched, but that's fine. It's upgraded, it's there, and I don't think the Chinese really want to fuck with it anyway. I'm going to take this corps and I'm going to move it into this field where it was at one point, and hey, look, now it's back. I might shift everything down here a little bit because I have this army that I can send into this front as well. The wider I can make this front, the better, because the more weaker things China will have to put up to the front, and the more mistakes like this they might make. I would have to give up entrenchment if I move this one forward, and I'm tempted to move this one forward to be able to attack here. Yeah, because my problem is that this group right here is fully recovered now, and that's not very good. Let's say fuck it. We'll take the bombers. We'll bomb this army again. Interceptors, escorts. They take 1 damage to interceptor. We take no damage to anything. Deal no damage. That was expected. Still worked out for us. Next, we would tack bomb it, which looks like our chances have actually gotten worse somehow. But we're going to tack bomb. That didn't accomplish anything big, but it did ruin their morale and readiness enough so that this army can have some good luck against them. So let's keep bleeding their resources with these battles that tend to go in our favor. Ooh, but that's not good. Let's keep up the pattern. Shift these 2. You will attack. That is another 2 damage. Very good. Very nice. I will now take the North Chinese Front Army. I am going to move it off of Wuhan. We're going to attack and finish off this corps. Delete it out of existence. That sounds good to me. This should turn to our side like next turn. No problem. This corps will attack the army we've been battering down. 2 more damage. We took 1 damage, not the greatest, but we are bleeding them way faster than they're bleeding us. Having them lose an army in general is pretty good. However, if we can get them to keep reinforcing, I've experienced how expensive that can be. We have this army at Manchuria that is capable of going to the front. That is going to go down to Wuhan, where it will have to start on some fresh entrenchments, but it is upgraded. It is good to go. We need to get a new corps up there. I will operate this one up to Manchuria. This corps, it's going to be corps right now because we don't have garrisons ready yet, but that's coming. We have this corps ready to just sit down on Yankee. I am going to take the army on Helsinki, and I want to get this to the front as soon as possible, so we're going to operate that down right here to Huang, where it can help gang up on this army and reinforce this front. Swap out with this corps if this corps ends up needing it, which I feel like it probably will, and protect our motherfucking airplanes. We do need to get something over here, however. Oh, that's what this corps down here at Seoul can do. We'll operate that 15 MPPs up to Helsinki, so it can just kind of fill in there. It doesn't need to sit on Seoul for the time being. That leaves me 200 MPPs. I do have the 17th Korean Army down south to upgrade, so I will give that its infantry weapons. And then now that these guys are ready, they're going to start pushing north here soon. Not yet, but soon, and the HQ will move up with them. I now have exactly 175 MPPs to spend, and while I could spend that on moving this army forward or something like that, and maybe getting a couple more garrisons, I think the situation we have right now is actually good for the time being, so I'm going to go into research. I'm going to spend that exact amount on starting research of infantry weapons too, because due to how much infantry Japan has and the reliance on infantry in this war with China, I think that's going to be very important to get them moving towards. And as they get it, actually no, I don't think they share tech, but still, we're going to start researching that with them, get that going now. We have nowhere near our maximum research for any of our nations, so we might as well get working on some more when good opportunities present themselves. So I am pretty content with that. I don't believe there's any more attacks I wish to do anywhere. Yeah, no. And I don't have any more money to repair anything or anything like that. Therefore, that is going to be the end of our turn and the end of the episode. So I hope you guys are enjoying how this is going so far. Let me know your thoughts, as I will be able to react to them within 1 or 2 episodes time with this series specifically. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.